Let's use these pine cones as the foundation for a beautiful candy corn themed fall craft. We love crafting with pine cones. They're plentiful in our area and have such beautiful shapes and textures. I used some acrylic craft paint and started by painting the bottom third of each pine cone yellow. I'm going to be hanging these upside down, so that's why I started with the yellow at the bottom end. I planned to include 3 of these candy corn pine cones in my swag for this craft, but you could do more or less depending on your preference. I'm not sure how, but I didn't have orange paint in my collection at the time of doing this craft, so I struggled a bit to mix the right yellow and red to create that middle orange layer. So that's just what I'm doing here. Finally, I blended it all together and got a passable shade of orange for my candy corn craft. You could use obviously just a plain orange paint, which would have been ideal, and paint that middle third section of each pine cone. And then finally, I painted the bottom third of each pine cone with white paint. I've been getting a number of questions about making the bow for this craft, so we're going to do this in real time. I'm using this 3.5-inch wide ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and there's about 6 feet in the roll. I used about 2/3 of it, so you'll need about 4 feet of ribbon for this craft. You want to think about the mantra of pinch and twist. So leaving about 10-12 inches of tail, you want to pinch the ribbon and then twist it around in your fingers. Now create that first loop and then pinch that together in your hand again and twist the ribbon around. Now you're going to create the second loop and again pinch and simply twist that tail so that they're both pointing down. So this is now our simple bow, and all you'll need is a bit of wire or something to tie it in place. I'm using a little bit of craft wire and wrapping that around that center pinched part to hold my bow together. So now that the wire is wrapped around the center, you can twist the whole bow around while holding the wire in place, just to get it nice and secure and tight. And the nice thing about this technique is then you have that excess wire to attach your bow to whatever you're making, be it a wreath or in our case, the mason jar ring for this swag. And this is the simplest way to make this bow. And then on the back, I actually attached the rim of a mason jar lid, which I just thought would be simplest to help hang all the remaining pieces off of. I created a second smaller bow with this complementary plaid ribbon to layer over top of the green bow. This one took a little bit longer as I wanted it to have several loops. So I just went back and forth and twisted the ribbon and then pinched it in place in the center and used a piece of wire to hold it all together. And then that wire worked really well to attach onto my other bow. I envisioned the candy corn pine cones to be hanging sort of at different heights in my arrangement. So I tied a little bit of twine to the top of each one and then hung those from the mason jar rim that I had put in place earlier. I liked the look of the twine in this kind of rustic craft, but if you want, you could also use some invisible line so that the pine cones look like they're almost floating in this arrangement. To finish off our arrangement, I layered in a little bit of raffia, some yellow and orange ribbon, and then topped that all off with one more little pine cone right in the center. This is what the back of the arrangement looks like. I did end up gluing the tails of my green bow together just to add a bit more stability. And that's it. After trimming off some of those loose ends, my new front door swag is all done. We hope you enjoyed this nature-inspired craft idea. Be sure to like and follow for more.